Two senior CIA agents believe they were targeted with a sophisticated microwave weapon while they were visiting Australia late last year. It's been reported the pair may have been attacked as part of a global campaign by Russia that's left American spies and diplomats suffering from mysterious brain-related illnesses. Political reporter Noor Haider joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Noor, g'day. Yeah, pretty bizarre story. Take us through what's happened.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. It is a fascinating story. America's GQ magazine reports that a pair of US CIA agents, including one of the agency's most senior members, travelled to Australia late last year for a clandestine meeting with Australian security officers. Now, while they were in their hotel room, both of the agents experienced sort of pressure on their head. They reported hearing a strange noise and a ringing in their ears. Both of them also became nauseous and dizzy. Now, their symptoms are consistent with what's known as Havana syndrome. This was first documented back in 2016 by American diplomats in Cuba. At the time, about 24 diplomats complained about hearing strange noises, experiencing vertigo, mysterious brain effects, including tiredness that was just not explainable, but also debilitating headaches. Now, exactly what's behind those symptoms remains unclear, or who's behind those symptoms remains unclear. There have been suggestions by researchers that microwaves beamed through windows and doors of buildings could explain these strange impacts on the brain. An investigation by the CIA reportedly placed 2 Russian agents near this hotel in Australia where the 2 CIA agents were staying. This same phenomenon has occurred elsewhere around the world, not just in Australia or in Cuba. It's been reported in China, in Poland, London and Taiwan. Peter Jennings from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute says that if these attacks are proven, Russia is the most likely culprit.
I think what we are seeing here is something that is most likely from the Russians, who seem to, frankly, care almost nothing of the consequences of aggressive intelligence actions. The Chinese tend to be more cautious, but if something was being directed against the American consulate in Guangzhou in China, that it seems to me could only really happen if there was some degree of Chinese complicity in the Russian behaviour.
Now, the Australian federal government has declined to comment on this matter directly, which isn't surprising. However, we do know that the federal government and Australian intelligence agencies do hold serious concerns about the activities of foreign spies on Australian soil. The head of Australia's domestic spy agency only this week warned that the number of spies operating in Australia now is more than that during the Cold War. For what it's worth, the ABC did contact the US Embassy here in Canberra. They declined to comment and referred us to the CIA, which is yet to respond. GQ magazine does, however, have a response from Russia's foreign ministry, or a spokesperson from Russia's foreign ministry. They've reportedly said that they wouldn't confirm whether these victims experienced an acoustic attack, paranoia or Russophobia, and they say that that's a question for doctors.
Of course, blaming on the Russians, right? Russians are always the fall guy. And there's no way in hell CIA will have weapons like that. Microwave weapons. You kidding me? They couldn't have weapons like that. And even if they did have weapons like that, can't imagine the CIA, the squeaky clean CIA, using microwave weapons on the masses, on American citizens. Not just American citizens, but using weapons like that on various parts of the world. They couldn't do that. They're the good guys, right? The CIA, They are the good guys, right? I mean, I'm being sarcastic, of course, because the CIA, believe it or not, they have just as much as the Russians, if not more, right? Weapons like that, and they've used weapons like that on the people. Believe that. Like the lady, she mentioned the Havana syndrome, right? And if you look into the Havana syndrome, I know a lot of you out there have been targeted with this weapons that they have, this invisible weapon. You don't know where it's coming from, but you can feel the effects of it. This is AI overview. Havana syndrome symptoms vary, but common complaints include acute symptoms like loud noises, visual disturbances, head pressure, ear pain, and tinnitus, as well as chronic symptoms like dizziness, light and sound sensitivity, cognitive difficulties, right? So some individuals also report fatigue, memory loss, and irritability. So here you have it. These symptoms, make no mistake about it, these are not normal. Things like this happening to you just out of the blue is not normal. There's always a radiation that comes with that. There's always some type of frequency. You are being hit with something. Put it to you that way. You are being hit with something that will mess up your whole bodily functions, and just you are disoriented, like it says here, cognitive difficulties. You don't know where you are. I know a lot of you have experienced this, especially if you're of the conspiracy theory kind, right? You're being targeted. And now you have the CIA admitting to the fact that there are weapons like this, right? Even though they're saying, oh, they went to a clandestine meeting in Australia and they were being hit with this microwave weapons in their hotel, and they're blaming it on the Russians and things of that nature. And they even went further to talk about how not only in Australia these weapons are being used, it's being used in various parts of the world, in China and everywhere else, right? And believe you me, the CIA has weapons like this, and they've used it on the people. And they're about to start using these weapons on a large scale, especially gatherings, right? Protests and things of that nature. Even you at your home, they can direct this energy, beam it at your home, because they have drones, they have satellites, they have all kind. Even our homes already been weaponized. All this new technology we have in our homes, right? The Siris and the iPhones, the Wi-Fi's and things of that nature. They can weaponize it and use this stuff, as the microwave weapons, even your smart meters. You see what I'm saying? So when you have symptoms like this, believe you me, you are being hit with something. Definitely you are being hit with something. You don't just get symptoms like this out of the blue. Something is being done to you. You are being targeted. And you have to understand this stuff, right? I know a lot of you have experienced this, and you try to tell somebody and they look at you crazy. Well, now you have the evidence. This is actually being done. And the CIA themselves are saying that it was done to them. And in Australia during the pandemic, right, the people were protesting. They used these weapons on the people, even to the point where they got cooked. You see their faces being burnt. Things like that. You see? We are living in some crazy times, and you have to be aware of this. Like the old saying goes, knowing is half the battle. And here we have in Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter and the 29th verse, it says, Lo, this only have I found, that the Most High had made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. And if you look up that word right there, inventions, you will begin to understand this microwave weapons. a lot better, right?
Strong's H 2810. Chishavon. Chishavon.
You heard it. It says device, invention. If you go down here, it says, i.e., a warlike machine. A warlike machine. So this devices, the microwave weapons, it is a warlike machine, a machine that has been designed to use in an act of war. You understand? This is where we are. But before we go any further, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakudash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continue to teach us this truth. Peace, salutation, shalom, shalom, shalom to all your brothers and sisters out there that are of the household of faith, beginning with 144,000 mighty men of the house of Israel, down to the men, women, and children that are allotted to be delivered in this latter days, who are of the elect, and to the brothers that are pushing this gospel in all sincerity and in all honesty. To you all, I say shalom, right? Now, I had to get into that word invention. So all these inventions, especially with the technological age we're living in, right? With all these technocrats running the show. You have guys like Elon Musk in the White House and doing God knows what, right? This is the age we're in. So now they've developed warlike machines to use on you. Basically, I mean, they would try to spin it. Oh, it's the Russians. Oh, it's the Chinese. Oh, it's the this, it's the that, right? Whatever it is, whatever narrative they're trying to push out there. But the fact being, there is a weapon like this. It has been manufactured. This type of weapons, they're around, and they're being used on the people. There was this hearing that they did one time, and they showed like a heart attack gun. I used to have it in my old channels that got deleted by YouTube, but this heart attack gun, if they shoot it at you, it leaves no holes. Once they shoot it at you, what happens is you get a heart attack and you drop dead. And how many people would know that have died like this mysteriously? They got a heart attack and they just died. And a lot of these guys, we start to investigate and look into their death, you understand that some people wanted them dead, right? Because of what they know, right? Things like that. And all of a sudden just drop dead of a heart attack, right? So there are weapons like this, and like we went through the symptoms, right? The Havana syndrome symptoms, right? If you're having this type of symptoms, more than likely you are being targeted. You are being targeted. And if you watch videos like this, conspiracy theories, if you're into things like that, guess what? They got your numbers, man. They know where you are. Hence why we have to have a protection, a divine protection, because they have a warlike machine to use against you. They do. We need to have protection, because without that protection, we are done. Psalms the 37th chapter and the 7th verse, it says, rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. Who are those? Well, the wicked elites. They're prospering their ways. That's why they're able to manufacture weapons like this. They're able to, play with the economy, play with people's livelihood, right? They're prospering in their ways. They're able to come out in the open and tell you that they're looking to feed you bugs and mealworms and lab-grown meat. Meanwhile, they're living it up. They tell you they don't want you flying. They have to charge you for your carbon footprints, and they have everything their heart can wish, and still they're making life a living hell for you. So they're prospering in their ways, especially in their NWO, right? So because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass, like we read earlier, the warlike machine. Part of that is the device. See? So the scripture is telling you, don't be afraid. Don't get, we know, we got to know about this stuff. But we serve a living power. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. He is greater than the wicked elites. He is greater than the globalists, right? He is greater than the Idumeans that run the whole show, right? He has more power than them. So if you're being protected by the Most High, that's why he tells you in Ephesians, the 6th chapter, to put on the whole armor, right? So we can't be, losing our cool, but we got to know what is happening, because now you know that you need a divine intervention. Because how are you going to fight against something like this, right? Something like this that can hit you with all kinds of ways. Neurological, sensory, auditory, cognitive, sensory, emotional, mental, physical, right? They can hit you with this stuff and jack you up. And there's no way for you to physically fight against it. You don't even know where it's coming from. So you need a divine intervention. You have, U.S. government accountability going into all of that, right? And you have ABC News talking about what to know about. How about you tell me who's doing it, right? What to know about. Yeah, I can look that up, what to know. Who is doing it and why are they doing it, right? That's why it brings us here in Psalms, the 10th chapter. And the first verse, it says, a prayer for the overthrow of the wicked. Why? Because as long as the wicked are in power, as long as they're running the whole show, guess what? You will always be targeted, right? You will always be the guinea pig for all their inventions. They will test it out on you. You see? It goes on to say, why standest thou afar off, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? So that is our sentiment, exactly the way the psalmist was talking to the Most High. We need you now more so than ever, right? Goes on the second verse, the wicked in his pride, right? Somebody to manufacture weapons like that, they're very prideful, right? They are very prideful. And why would they manufacture weapons like that? Well, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor, to persecute you, to jack you up, right? And ultimately unalive you if need be. You see? It says, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Part of their devices is this microwave weapons that people are being hit with all across the world, all across the globe. People are being hit with this weapon, right? It goes on to say, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, right? They talk about the things they're going to do. Look you in the face and tell you how they're looking to unleash holy hell with AI technology, with this, with that, right? They're looking to put surveillance under your skin. They're looking to section you off in 15-minute cities where they will monitor every single thing you're doing. That is their them boasting of their heart's desire. Lock you up in concentration camps if they deem you to be a dissident. You see, it says, and blesseth the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. You get the idea. This is in Isaiah, the 32nd chapter and the 6th verse. It says, for the vile person will speak villainy, right? Always the Russians, always the Chinese. How about you? What have you been doing? Nothing. Right? That's the CIA right there. Oh, I haven't been doing nothing. Just been catching the bad guys. You see? So the vile person will speak villainy. They are the real villains. And your governments, your Congress, they could try to disguise themselves as the good guys like they always do. But make no mistake about it, they are the true villains. says, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy. You see that? They tell you how they're going to do good by you. They will make America great again. They will do this. They will build back better, right? All that crap that they talk, but at the end of the day, they do the total opposite. It says, and to utter error against the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. To boldly tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. They do say that, right? It's one of their mottos in this day and age. You will own nothing and be happy. That's part of the Great Reset. It goes on to say the instruments also of the churl are evil. What are those instruments? Well, it goes back to the devices, which goes back to the warlike machines. Look up the word churl, means a scoundrel. A real scoundrel. That's what we're dealing with here. And their instruments are very evil. They can stay miles and miles away and hit you with something that will F you up, totally F you up. And you wouldn't even know how to react to it. You would think you're sick. You would think you're thinking all kinds of things. Meanwhile, somebody's just pushing a button and getting you all the way jacked up. It says he deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor. Here we go again with destroying the poor, persecuting the poor. So they devise wicked devices. They deviseth wicked devices. So they manufacture these weapons to direct it directly at you. To destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak it right. So even when you are, like, say, take for example, people out there protesting, right? And they try to make it look like you are doing wrong by protesting what is happening in the world stage, because you see a lot of corruption, you see a lot of unjust dealings happening, right? And they make it look like a bad guy. The prophets out there prophesying, they turn it against you, make you look like the bad guy, even though you're speaking things that are right. Because a lot of the things they do is unconstitutional. If we're talking about the Constitution, right? People are supposed to have freedom of speech. Well, they're trying to do away with that. And if you talk about it, well, they have their thought police. Say, but the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. You get the idea. That's Psalms, the 33rd chapter, and the 10th verse. It says, the Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. So this is where our hope lies, that when they use these devices, these warlike machines, these inventions, right? When they aim it at you and hit you with all this stuff, well, we pray that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will make the devices of none effect. It wouldn't have any effect on you. So this Havana syndrome wouldn't work on you, right? This is where our hope lies, because there's nothing really much you can do physically. What can you do physically? You know? I mean, you can try to wear your tinfoil hats and do all of that other craziness, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the divine protection, you are wasting your time, man. Definitely. So it goes on to say in the 11th verse, the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, standeth forever, right? The thoughts of his hearts to all generations. So rather trust in the Lord, because his counsel will stand forever. And if his part of his counsel is that nothing will happen to you, all these devices will be none effect, guess what? Nothing is going to happen to you. See? Nothing is going to happen to you. So let's close out with this in Psalms, the 33rd chapter. Okay, that was the last one. That was the last scripture I had. So there you have it. You have devices that a lot of all these organizations, CIA, even the Russians and whoever, they've had this. And in Australia, they were talking about I put up a couple of videos back during the protest era. They use they call it an LRAD. I forgot what it is again, but they use that to, let me try to see what it means again. They use that to hit those people that were protesting. Here it is. It says a long-range acoustic device, LRAD, a long-range acoustic device. So this is all part of that thing here. Like it says, it's a powerful loudspeaker designed to produce sound at a high frequency, at a high intensity, and over a long distance. According to Wikipedia, it is used for various purposes, including crowd control, negotiations, and even by military forces for communications and crowd dispersal. It says the high decibel output of an LRAD can cause temporary or permanent hearing damages. And part of the Havana syndrome is the tinnitus, loud noises in your ear. And you have that right here. They have this stuff. So they have all kinds of stuff they can aim at you. You see? And the military owns this stuff. Military applications. So you gotta be aware of this and understand you are in the front lines. You are in a war, right? And they have these warlike machines, and your only way to counter all this stuff is to trust in the Lord. And with that, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachahakodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone. See you next time, Lord willing. Shalom. Shalom.